Good evening. I'm Spencer Williams, Director of Land Use and Topography for Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso.
Good evening. I'm Britt Bird, Senior Planner for Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso.
This uniform land use review procedure public hearing is being conducted from the Brooklyn Borough Hall courtroom. Please note that this hearing is being streamed via WebEx and recorded to comply with the open meetings law. Video will later be posted on Brooklyn Borough President's YouTube channel. We have 2 items on the agenda this evening. Following each applicant's presentation, members of the public who are in attendance tonight will be invited to testify on the applications. All comments are limited to 2 minutes. While this meeting is being live streamed, we do not accept virtual testimony. Members of the public may also submit comments to testimony@brooklynbp.nyc.gov for the Borough President's consideration until Friday, November 22nd, 2024. Please call the first item.
Calendar item number 1, New York Community Hospital of Brooklyn, ULURP number C18007-0MMK. A private application by New York Community Hospital of Brooklyn involving the elimination, discontinuance, and closing of a portion of Avenue O between Bedford Avenue and Kings Highway in Community District 14, Borough of Brooklyn, in order to facilitate the construction of a new infectious disease isolation unit for the New York Community Hospital. On November 4th, 2024, CB 14 voted to approve this application. Please state your name and present this application.
Good evening, Amanda Iannotti from Sheldon Lobel PC on behalf of the applicant. We are here this evening for the New York Community Hospital demapping application. Do I control the screen?
Yeah.
Here's the project summary. So New York Community Hospital proposes to demap an 11.7-foot wide portion of the southerly side of Avenue O and a triangular portion at the intersection of Avenue O and Kings Highway. The portion of Avenue O proposed to be demapped is currently improved with sidewalk area and contains an enclosed ramp, which provides handicap access into the hospital. This is permitted right now pursuant to a DOT revocable consent. Should the proposed demapping be approved, this area would be granted back pursuant to a sidewalk easement back to DOT to make sure that it is always open to pedestrian use in the future. However, the triangular portion of the street is really the area in question here. They want to put an enlargement there for the infectious disease isolation unit. So that area, which is currently enclosed with fencing, would not be open to pedestrian use and would be improved with the new structure. The maps show the area a little bit better. On the area map, you can see the area in red is the area that's proposed to be demapped. Again, the straight area down Avenue O is where the ramp currently is, and then at the triangular portion is where the area of enlargement would be. The alteration map here shows it a little bit closer. Again, just a small triangular arrow-shaped area proposed to be demapped, and the photos show it a little better as well. So the ramp area is the enclosed structure there, and the area of enlargement would go within the fenced area right now. So you can see the ramp there. That's how people enter the emergency room for handicap access at the moment. And the infectious disease isolation unit would be built off that ramp, and there would be an access point into the new area of enlargement. So these are the current conditions of the sidewalk and the area in question. There's the ramp area from Avenue O. And here's a basic illustrative floor plan of the isolation unit. So again, you would enter it from the ramp, and patients would be isolated from the rest of the hospital. This is important to the hospital because currently patients are entering the ER and part of the general ER population. This would provide a completely separate area once they're triaged. Instead of entering the ER with an infectious disease, they would be brought to this isolation unit and then not, spread potentially contagious germs inside the rest of the ER. That's really the crux of the application. Again, it's a demapping to permit the construction of an infectious disease isolation unit in the triangular portion of the intersection of Avenue O and Kings Highway.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Can you speak to any concerns raised by Community Board 14? if any?
Sure. Community Board 14 did unanimously approve the application, but there was some discussion and questions about any increased traffic or if it would bring any more patients to this hospital that would not otherwise come. And we responded that no, the patients that would be coming would otherwise be coming to the ER. They're just better isolated and quarantined from the rest of the ER population. So there is really no increased traffic anticipated. It's patients that would already be coming to this facility. There was also some concerns about effects on traffic flow or the sidewalk or the pedestrian usage of the sidewalk. And we responded that since the enlargement area is within the area that's already fenced off and already not used by the public, that again, this really would have no effect on no effect on traffic flow or the pedestrian use of the sidewalk. And the area that's currently under revocable consent, which is the handicap ramp area, would be permanently used by the public. There would be no enlargement there, and DOT did request an easement back to them, so that way it remains open to pedestrian use.
Thank you so much. The panel is now excused.
Thank you.
We will now call for testimony on this application tonight for members of the public in attendance. Please note that all comments are limited to 2 minutes. Are there any folks here who would like to provide testimony? We have not had anyone sign up. If anyone would like to provide testimony on this item, please approach the podium and let yourself identify yourself. Hearing none, this item is now closed. Please call the second item.
Calendar item number 2, Brownsville NCP, ULURP number 250036 HAK, 250037 ZMK, and N250038 ZRK. A public application by the Department of Housing Preservation and Development seeking a UDAP and disposition, zoning map amendment, and zoning text amendment to facilitate 3 new 4, 6, and 9-story buildings with a total of 61 affordable residential units and approximately 2,000 square feet of commercial space at 425 Mother Gaston Boulevard, 546 Thomas S. Boylan Street, and 1733 St. Mark's Avenue in Brownsville, Community District 16, Brooklyn. On November 19th, Community Board 16 voted to disapprove the project with the conditions that the applicant, 1, increase the number of apartments in the lower area medium income bands and decrease the amount in the higher AMI bands. 2, consider sites for development of home ownership opportunities rather than affordable rentals. 3, partner with Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation to work on local hiring and subcontracting. 4, provide abatement of rodent and raccoon issues at 546 Thomas S. Boylan Street. 5, consider adding open space within the proposed projects. And 6, provide examples and precedents of requested changes to zoning that occurred elsewhere in New York City that support the request for the zoning change here at 1733 St. Mark's Avenue. Please state your name and present this application.
Good evening. My name is Amar Hernandez. I'm a senior planner with HPD. I'm joined today by Hala Sala, Deputy Director of Brooklyn Planning at HPD, as well as Gabriel Fernandez, who will help me present from Fifth Avenue Committee on Brownsville NCP. So a little background on this project. In December 2014, HPD released the NIHOP NCP RFQ in an effort to have opportunities to create affordable housing on smaller, vacant, underutilized city-owned sites in areas of Brooklyn that are difficult to develop. On June 2017, HPD designated Fifth Avenue Committee. And since then, Fifth Avenue Committee has been working through the pre-ULURP process. On September 9th, this project certified for ULURP, and we held our ULURP hearing with CP16 in October 2024. The proposed Brownsville NCP project is comprised of 3 small scattered sites currently on vacant, underutilized city-owned lots in Brownsville. The project sponsor is Fifth Avenue Committee and designated through the HPD NIHOP NCP RFQ. It would be the construction of 3 new buildings ranging from 4 to 9 stories, totaling approximately 61 units, 60 affordable rental units, and 1 additional supers unit. And this would be developed under HPD's neighborhood construction program. 27 affordable rental units in City Council District 41 would be developed as of right under existing zoning. And the project approvals and proposed actions would be Urban Development Action Area designation and project approval of the disposition of 5 city-owned lots. And for Site 3 in City Council District 37, zoning map amendment to rezone an M11 area to an R78 district with a C24 zoning overlay for Site 3 and a zoning text amendment to establish MIH in the rezoning area. This map provides a little bit of information on the location and context. As you can see, Site 1 and Site 2 are located in City Council District 41, and Site 3 is within City Council District 37. I will now pass it off to Fifth Avenue Committee.
Thanks, Amhara. I'm Gabriel Fernandez from Fifth Avenue Committee. And let's see. So this is Fifth Avenue Committee is a comprehensive community development corporation. We're a NeighborWorks America chartered member. We're 45 years old, based in Gowanus. We're predominantly active in Brooklyn. We develop and manage affordable housing. We also do grassroots organizing, policy advocacy, student-centered education, and we combat displacement caused by gentrification. We currently own 740 units, 622 are affordable, and we have a pipeline of close to 2,000 units. The development team, for the Brownsville NCP, FAC is the developer. The architect is Think Architecture and Design. They're a very experienced architect that has worked in the affordable space with HPD. They've done numerous projects. And they're bringing aboard their design team, their structural engineer, Wexler, their mechanical engineer, MWB Engineering, and the landscape architect is Dirtworks, and we're being advised by Goldstein and Hall, and the general contractor is to be determined. We're not at that stage at this point. The proposed site number 1, this is the smallest of the 3. The address is 425 Mother Gaston. As Amhara mentioned, the top photo, it's these are infill sites. It's a 20-foot wide lot. There's nothing there presently. And what we propose is a 4-story walk-up. This one will have a ground floor retail. Mother Gaston is a commercial artery in Brownsville. And in floors 2 through 4, we're proposing 1-bedroom units. There'll be 6 in total, 2 per floor. The second, we're going from the smallest to the largest. This is 546 Thomas Boylan. This project will be an elevator building and contain 21 units. It's 100% residential. And this one will be built as of right. This is in an R6 zone, as the Mother Gaston site. That's also as of right. And finally, this is the largest of the 3. This is 1733 St. Mark's Avenue. The site is currently zoned for manufacturing, M11, and we are proposing to rezone it to R7A with a commercial overlay. We're proposing a 9-story elevator building with 34 units, 100% residential. This is to the left is an aerial photograph of the site at Mother Gaston. Also, as you can see, it's an infill site. And on the right is the existing zoning. The M11 trapezoid is the current block. It's a full block that is currently zoned manufacturing. And the rezoning that is proposed is along East New York Avenue, starting with our site and working towards the east. The R7A becomes an extension of the R7A zone that is further to the east on East New York Avenue. FAC is committed to community outreach, and we've been engaging with the Brownsville community since we've been involved. I've been involved with this project since 2019, and we've had series of meetings pre-COVID and then after COVID, so we're a big believer in community engagement and community outreach with respect to efforts that we're going to be making for local hiring. This slide highlights this. FAC is going to commit to recruit locally from Brownsville for a FAC affiliate called Brooklyn Woods that builds. It's a woodworking shop that builds the cabinets that go into our residential apartment projects. And the hires that we make locally will be assigned to build the cabinets that go into the Brownsville NCP project. FAC is also offering to put on a free OSHA training, OSHA 30 training course in Brownsville to help local residents further equip themselves and make it easier for them to with job placement. FAC will commit to working with a local intermediary. I'm sorry, with an intermediary for local hiring for the construction jobs during the construction period. We believe that the project is, we're at too early a stage at this point to commit to any individual entity to perform that function. And FAC will also conduct a job fair for local residents. And finally, when FAC as the sponsor will run the project for the bidding for the general contractors, and we will indicate that we will be partial to proposals that exceed higher New York City goals, higher NYC targets, and MWBE requirements. Finally, with regards to the design, I think there was the design and sustainability. The buildings will be all electric, and they'll be built to a very high level of energy efficiency. The buildings will be certified for Enterprise Green Communities 2020 and built to Energy Star multifamily new construction standards. We expect them to perform at least 20% above current New York City building code requirements. Okay, I'll turn it back over to Amhara. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. So as stated before, the project will be under HPD's neighborhood construction program. This chart illustrates the proposed unit mix and affordability across all three buildings. The proposed mix includes a mix of studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms, with 39% being family-sized units. We also have 8 units set aside for formerly homeless households, with the remaining units dispersed almost equally across the 40, 60, and 70% area median income bands. We have heard from CB16 and community residents from previous projects that 80% AMI tier is too high. And in this project, we are proposing a unit mix with that feedback in mind, with a maximum eligible income of 70%. Additionally, as all HPD projects have, we have units set aside equipped more accessibly, with 5% of units set aside for mobility impaired and 2% set aside for hearing and visual impaired. And all units will be set aside and available through HPD's Housing Connect 2.0. This is our last slide today. We'll open it up for feedback and questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Would the proposed City of Yes for Housing Opportunity text amendment have any impacts on this project if it were passed?
If passed, the proposed City of Yes for Housing Opportunity would unlock some additional FAR for these sites. But given where this project is in the process for ULURP and the environmental review that already has been done for the project that hasn't been analyzed for other than what has been currently proposed, these 3 sites will not be utilizing City of Yes for Housing Opportunity regulations if passed.
Thank you. Was a mixed-use manufacturing residential district considered for Site 3?
Existing uses in the rezoning area currently consist of retail, office space, house of worship, parking, vacant land, and residential. Residential uses are prohibited in the M11 district. MX districts aim to combine existing light industrial uses with residential districts. However, in this block, there are no active industrial uses. And we can go back to this slide. The area in light gray was a portion of the East New York rezoning, and it was analyzed by DCP that this manufacturing area would be more suitable for residential and commercial uses, and it was rezoned to R7A and C24. And there were other MX districts that were mapped in the East New York plan but that were not in this geography. So extending off the goals of the East New York plan, which Site 3 borders, the Site 3 zoning map amendment aims to extend the existing R7A and C24 district that was mapped as part of the East New York neighborhood plan. So with this rezoning, it's unlikely to displace existing tenants and will bring some uses such as residential into compliance. And the proposed development does not result in the loss of current manufacturing jobs because there's no manufacturing uses within the proposed rezoning boundary.
Can you speak to any concerns or conditions raised by Community Board 16 and how you're prepared to respond to them?
So Community Board's recommendation was no with the following conditions. During our meetings with CB16 in October and November, they did provide feedback on this project and raised the concerns outlined in this chart above that we have worked and are still working to respond to. The first one of the primary reasons was related to deepening the affordability. This project contains 3 small scattered sites that produce different challenges and affect our ability to be creative and increase the units to offset and deepen affordability. And due to this, it's taking us more time to review different affordability alternatives to understand the impacts on the budget and ensure the project is still feasible. However, we're still working in partnership with FAC on these different affordability mixes, and we are continuing to work on this, and we will come back throughout the ULURP process to share updates to CB16. As the second item, CB16 also raised considering sites for homeownership opportunities. At our last meeting in early November, we spoke to upcoming affordable homeownership projects in their district, including newly ones that are in construction and also ones that are in pre-ULURP, and also shared information on HPD's homeownership programs as a whole. The third item was requesting FAC to partner with Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation to ensure local hiring and subcontracting. As FAC stated in a previous slide, FAC is committed to local hiring. However, a final selection of an intermediary for local hiring will happen later in the process. For item 4, there was a concern related to the abatement of rodent and raccoon issues at Thomas Boylan lot. We are in the process of dealing with this. HPD Property Management has scheduled the lot clearing, which is necessary for the abatement, and this should be completed by the end of November 2024 at no cost to homeowners. For item 5, we were asked to explain the lack of open space within the project and consider designing open space within the project to offer an enhanced quality of life. 2 out of 3 sites include outdoor space in the rear yard, and 1 also includes outdoor space, includes an outdoor terrace. I could provide. So in site 2, we have an outdoor rear space of 895 square feet. In site 3, we have an open rear space of over 1,200 square feet and, sorry. A little bit delayed. And in site 2, there's the terrace as well. And although we recognize the importance of having more open space in our projects, due to the limited lot size, we are unable to provide any more than here, what is already proposed. And then lastly, we were asked to provide examples of requested changes to zoning that occurred elsewhere in NYC that can support the requested zoning for changes in Brownsville. At our last meeting, we shared the example of the East New York plan that was rezoned areas from manufacturing to residential, prompting new housing development and on public and private sites. And the few examples that we gave included the public site Chestnut Commons and the private site nearby 1613 East New York Avenue.
Thank you all. The panel is now excused. We will now call for testimony on this application from members of the public in attendance tonight.
Okay, we have Janice Morgan.
Good evening. My name is Janice Morgan, and I am the chairperson of Brooklyn Community Board 16. And I did want to just come down and share that CB 16 did have the meetings that were referenced in the presentation. We did have a follow-up meeting with the development team on November 12th. They did present this presentation. They did make attempts to respond to the concerns. At this juncture, item number 1, with regards to the affordability of the unit mix, is still a pressing concern. And so we consider that item not satisfactory at this time. And also item number 3, with regards to partnering with Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation to ensure local hiring, we consider the response non-satisfactory at this time. Affordability within Brownsville is extremely important. The area median incomes are typically much higher than the average income for most residents in the community. And so making the units affordable for individuals in the community is something that we are very concerned about and passionate about. And we do want to ensure that local residents have the opportunity to afford the units. So we are committed to continuing to work with the development team to come up with a mix that meets the needs of the community. Additionally, local hiring is important. Obviously, to afford an apartment, you need income, and having local residents participate in the development in the community not only employs them, trains them for additional opportunities within or outside of the community, and it also creates a sense of partnership between development and community. We believe that that type of partnership is what also contributes to long-term safety of the community and preservation of the community, to ensure that residents see themselves in the development and that they don't see that they're being developed around and possibly displaced later on. And so those are the pressing concerns at this time. We understand that we're still very early in the process. We're willing to continue to have conversations with the development team as this project makes its way through the ULURP process. And at the point that we can come to some agreement on items number 1 and number 3, we're willing to take this matter back up for another vote and potentially change our unfavorable vote to a favorable vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have one question for you. Sorry. In addition to the depth of affordability, is there any comments on the unit mix of the building in terms of the range of sizes of units?
Yeah, we did talk a bit about that. I think at this point, the unit mix is not as problematic as the income bands, because what was presented to us was several units in the 80% AMI mix. We talked about possibly bringing that a little lower to 70, but we know that there are projects in the community that have gone lower. And so to the extent that we could change the mix of the units, meaning apartment size, so that we can also achieve some better affordability in the income bands, we want to explore that. We understand that it's a small project, and sometimes with smaller projects, there's a lot that can't be achieved versus if the project was bigger. but we want to try to maximize whatever benefit can come to the community around affordability. We don't want to just max out at higher units just for the sake of it's a smaller development. There's not a lot that can be accomplished around, unit mix and affordability. We want to see that we've kind of explored all angles and have arrived at the best possible scenario for the community. And so we think that there's definitely more work that can be done. We understand that, this project is going to continue to make its way, and we'll just follow it along the way, continue to have the conversations, and hopefully come to some change, even if it's not a drastic, it's some, and it shows that we're capable of working in partnership to meet the needs of the global community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to testify on this item?
Hearing no further comment, this item is now closed. So with that, this ULURP public hearing is now closed. The Borough President will review these applications and submit his recommendations to the City Planning Commission, which will hold its hearing on these items at a later date. As a reminder, members of the public may submit comments to testimony at brooklynbp.nyc.gov for the Borough President's consideration until Friday, November 22nd, 2024. With that, this meeting is now adjourned.